What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Hello, How Are You Today? I'm your host, Mitch Corbett, and welcome to this podcast of mine. Today we have a great guest, Moondog Dylan Davis. So a little background on Moondog is that we actually got to share a locker room when I was wrestling in Newfoundland for New Evolution Wrestling. Check them out on all their YouTubes and everything. Great promotion, very unique set of characters down there in Newfoundland. And this is a bit different because we kind of do like a shoot interview, and for those that don't understand what a shoot interview in wrestling terms, shoot is a real interview instead of being a character or anything. It's more of a realistic interpretation of what's happening. So we kind of talk about his time in NEW, some of the pluses and minuses of wrestling in Newfoundland and that scene there. And it's a fun conversation. We talk about his training regime a little bit, how he got into wrestling, and what he expects for it going forward. So we're gonna get right to the interview now and talk to Moondog Dylan Davis. All right, I'm here with Dynamite Dylan Davis of Newfoundland Professional Wrestling. He's jacked. To the fins, to the gills, I don't know what you want to call it, but Dylan, welcome to the show. Welcome to Hello, How Are You Today?
I'm great. How are you doing, man?
Good. So it's been a long time since I've seen you. How's Newfoundland treating you? Or sorry, I should have said, what are you at, my son?
This is it, my son. Not much at all. No. Let's go back for a second. You said Dynamite Dylan Davis. Just to say, that's my formerly known as Dynamite Dylan Davis, but now it's the Moondog. It's a new thing I'm doing. So like a newer, it's a newer gimmick, but a realer version of me that I'm going to present to the fans. But to dive back into the whole question of how is Newfoundland, it's been a crazy year and a few months for sure. I moved back in March. With the intention to just be a few months until COVID blew over. It didn't blow over. So I started working on a boat for a year at the end of the season. So it didn't really work out. So I've been just sort of like taking it easy here now, just working out and stuff, watching matches, always takes, reaching out all across Canada to so once everything is open again, I have spots to go because as you and many know right now, there's not much work right here for me right now in Newfoundland, which is okay. With me not here, it gives more space to the newer guys because, to be honest, what I seek now is the best wrestlers in Canada, to push me up to the next level. So in a nutshell, Newfoundland's been great to me. It's been an eye-opening year, and I'm looking forward to moving past Newfoundland again to see what's going to happen with me in the future.
Yeah, we'll get to the whole. I did post on Facebook that you're going to be my first shoot interview, so we'll get to all that controversy stuff about the Newfoundland wrestling scene. Now, you mentioned the Moondog gimmick. Now, that's in tribute to what's the wrestler's name?
Sailor White. Sailor White. Moondog King, he was known as. So when COVID sort of shut everything down, I don't know. I just wanted to change up what I was doing. I was fine with what I was doing. I was having fun. It was good, but I didn't feel like I was giving it my all. So, and looking back too, I didn't feel like Sailor White was given the proper respect, or like his name wasn't brought up enough, and so I figured a simple name change, toss on a pair of jeans and whatnot, you could show some respect to a man who brought wrestling to Newfoundland. Without him, there'd be no Dylan Davis. There'd be no Bulldog Brandon Hines. There's no Lock Gears. No, all these guys who are here, local guys who've been here for a while doing their thing. These guys would not be here, and I feel like his name is like sort of forgotten a little bit. So again, it's just my new twist on an old school classic to show some respect to the Moondog name and the name that brought wrestling to Newfoundland.
All right. When you say Moondog, I just imagine you like doing some like Sailor Moon sort of gimmick with the moon spear, carry a moon spear to the ring.
Yeah,
I will vanquish you.
Ha You know.
But you mentioned Sailor White. So kind of give us a backstory of him and his influence in Newfoundland, because like I've only heard when I was living in Newfoundland, when I was working in Newfoundland, I only heard stories of this guy, and all of them were so over the top.
Oh yeah.
So kind of give me a little bit of backstory of Sailor White and why, like you kind of mentioned why you want to pay homage to him, but like maybe share your own personal Sailor White story.
So if you heard a story about him and it sounds like crazy, it's definitely true. You know, I came into the local scene when I was like 13, 31 now. So Sailor wasn't really involved heavily in the scene when I was around. My first memory of him, I believe, was I was 10 years old at a show here in a town called the Ghouls at a high school. And me and my dad were there, and I walk in, and the show starts, and it's just these guys in homemade masks and just crazy, you know, guys who look like guys that would be walking down the like street. I'm like, this is crazy. These guys are all, you know, because for me as a kid, I watched wrestling on like, you know, guys who were jacked. Now you've seen guys who were here locally fighting. It was cool. So the main event, it was Sailor White versus Vince Austin. And the whole time they're fighting, I can't remember the name of the song, but what's the group name? Is it White Zombie or something? They're really like, it's like metal group was playing the whole time. They're fighting outside and stuff. And they fight out in the snow, and I thought it was the coolest shit ever. So fast forward years later, I was a ref for Atomic Wrestling Entertainment, another local spot here. Sailor White was just there at the show. It's also in the Ghouls too, not the same spot, but same town. And he walked in and he told me I was too small, but then he like laughed and walked away. And that was that was the last like word I heard from him. But you know, he's been around the world. Like back in the day, he was the only like Newfoundlander that's ever traveled and you know made great like money doing this. Not only that, but he was the former WWF tag team champion. Something happened with that, so he sort of like lost that. But he made it there, right? So you know, back then through like hard times or whatever, he moved home again, and he opened up like a training school up in Shea Heights. You know, so he would train locals, and then he would run his own shows, and they would draw no one there at all, but still they would have they would have a spot to go and work and learn how to work, which is how wrestling sort of evolved here and sort of how it works now as well. So his influence on sort of taking a local kid with a dream and throwing him right into the fire is still something that's used now today.
And not always the best idea either. But you know, that's the way it goes sometimes.
It's all about perspective. So if they're ready for it, it's awesome. If they're not, I hate to say it, but it weeds them out. Like, all the old guys say,
how many people have you seen got weaned out because they were thrown into the fire and just gotten their shit kicked out of them? Just like, okay, I'm gonna hit you with 50 chops and then pin.
Oh yeah, it's a few of them. Yeah, I feel like the idea of it is great, but once they feel it, it's like, oh shit, you know. So, but you know, I feel like his influence, you know, is still here today. Even though earlier I said like his name's not mentioned, I feel like the concept of a local kid here can do this is something that I think is pretty sweet, because Newfoundland, you wouldn't think there'd be a spot here to learn how to wrestle. It's not the most ideal way to learn, and if I had my time back, I would have taken more steps to get better by people who are more credible. But again, I wouldn't change a thing because it's who I am now today. So it's all part of it, right?
So in speaking of that, like we talked just now about how like, you know, if your first match is being thrown for wolves, it will kind of like wean you out and not want to do it again. And like, now don't get me wrong. Like when you train, like when you get into wrestling, like when you start, you're supposed to get beat up a little bit because they want to prove that you actually want it, sort of thing. What we talked about was, taking advantage of someone in a ring, which is something that happens far too often, I find, in these smaller markets, if you will.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, has like opening a school ever crossed your mind in terms of like training kids? Because you are one of the few that have traveled and you are in shape and you have that experience. I mean, I've seen some of the guys that you've worked with through matches on the East Coast or in Ontario, and it's like, man, you're working with these top guys because you are a top guy. So like, I feel like that experience should be shared with the young wrestlers, male or female, that want to try and get into it, especially in Newfoundland.
Yeah. So like when I moved home, I this idea gung ho was to get a ring, find a spot, train, and which is now the latter idea is to open up a new company, which is gonna. I'm sure we'll touch more on that later on. But the whole plan was to come home. When I moved away 4.5 years ago, 4.5 years right now, yeah, 4.5 years ago. The whole plan was to move away, get really, really good, come home and open a school so kids like me can learn the right way to chase this whole dream called pro wrestling and do it right and not be misled like I did over the last 13 years. You know what I mean? So which sort of ties into the whole reason why I'm not wrestling here a little bit. So I moved home. There was a ring here that the person who has it doesn't own it.
Okay,
so,
wait, let's tell me more about the school idea you want to do, and then I'll elaborate on it. Okay.
So I the whole plan, like, and it's still a plan. It's still in the works. It's just everything right now, of course, with COVID is like on hold. So I wanted to get a ring, start a school, so I can train people, who are already working now here or who want to learn how to work and wrestle, but not myself because I don't have enough experience myself to train someone to be a pro wrestler. So my idea was to, having shows myself, to bring in a certain name or who has a certain like background that can show everyone every aspect of like wrestling. So bringing someone one time that's strong on like wrestling or promos or just every concept of what it is to be a pro wrestler, not just moves, not just hitting someone hard. It's an art form that needs to be taught a certain way, I feel, and there's never been a spot here quite like that where you can go train whenever you want, pay a fee, there's a ring there's a whole gym there too and stuff. You just go and just be better.
So in to kind of elaborate on that, I mean, like, how long have you been wrestling for?
My first match, 2006. But
so I mean, like, when you say you don't have the experience, you have plenty of experience. And like, personally, like with my experience with my trainer, Tiberius King, like he had all these years experience, but he learned more about wrestling while he was training others, even though he didn't know how to, I guess he knew how to train people, but he was learning as he went. So like, your idea of saying like, oh, I'm not ready to train people is asinine, because like you're going to learn real quick how to, and like you go from bumps, and you go from chain, and you go from everything else. I mean, like it's not rocket science in this sense. I mean, I love wrestling. It's very difficult to do on the body, but in terms of like, it is relatively kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to say easy. I'm going to stop my sentence there because I don't want to sound like an asshole. But you know what I mean, right? Like, it's like once like, if you love it and you want to get into it, it's easy to like kind of like just do it, sort of thing, in my opinion. So like, you want to start a school, but have you looked at like, I know you want a wrestling ring, but have you looked at like boxing rings or jiu-jitsu clubs and just doing mat-based stuff to start, like a dungeon style sort of thing?
That was the idea as well too, at first, because I know like one of the things I always learn from people I always like ask everything. One of the things I was always taught was it's best to learn on without ropes first, because people tend to always want to hit the ropes and do the cool shit without learning the basics. So for me, I don't really need a ring per se. I just need a space, to go and train. But again, with the world right now with COVID, everyone's very like touchy on like using certain spots. So until the world's more opened up, then we can open up to like those kind of things. And another thing too, it's there's not enough interest that I can see right now here to make a training class feasible for me. It's just not enough. I don't know if that's lack of interest or lack of information or whatnot, but I just don't have I have no idea who would want to take part in that right now.
Well, listen, I could go full mainlander on your ass and explain to you why Newfoundlanders don't want to train, but you know, I'm gonna be professional here and not go full heel like I would in the past. So let's get to it. I invited you to be on this podcast because I wanted to talk to you about your career, because you've done a lot throughout it. But you want to talk about something else, and you mentioned how you wanted to do school and that there was a ring, and then that ring allegedly or mysteriously went away or disappeared. The floor is yours, Dylan.
Okay.
To elaborate what happened. So just for our listeners, Dylan wanted to start a school and he wanted to start a wrestling promotion. There's only one promotion in Newfoundland right now, New Evolution Wrestling. And Dylan's going to tell a story about his, I guess, ups and downs or heat with New Evolution Wrestling. And then, I'm probably going to get an angry message from the owner and promoter of that promotion. And if he would like to come on the podcast and explain his side, we might as well do that as well.
It's okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say anything that's not true. So I'm not gonna totally bury the guy either, because that's not what I'm all about. And there's no heat on my part. I think that bridge has burned. I've crossed it. It's gone. I'm done, and it's on to better things. So just because the reason for this, because I've been hearing through the grapevine that he's been saying things that are embellished or not true about myself, and it's like, well, I mean, if he's going to go about that kind of way, then if I can at least address things like this for the public to see it, and even address the things I did wrong, then it shows that I'm not here to play the burial game. I'm just here to do some cool shit. So,
you're just here to play the game.
I can feel it right here, man.
Only wrestling fans will get that reference.
Yeah, the wrestling. But okay, so there's a ring here. It's a cutting edge wrestling ring that was built, I believe, 2015-ish, maybe, around there. It was a collective, so a number of people threw in some money. It was a whole thing, and it was made. Things fell through because it's local wrestling, and there was some kind of dispute. I don't know the full thing. I wasn't around for that. But the ring ended up in possession of, it was, I believe, long story short, it ended up in the possession of Travis, who has it now. So I came back and found out the ring, who owns the ring. It wasn't Travis. It was Chris Carter and Dan Goss. They own the ring. But it was first being stored somewhere else, then stored somewhere else, and then Travis went and got it when he heard that we wanted it. So, when I found out that, so first to like go back a little bit first, is when I came back, when I tried to get the ring first, it was myself and Scott. We were the ones that were trying to get a ring just for the reason to open up a spot to like go to train, not to have shows, right? So, so once we asked about it, guys on the roster, Tony King said he didn't trust me. And I was up to no good.
Now, hold on. So I want to pause there because I feel it's important to like stop you there, because there is a lack of trust with you with this Newfoundland scene because of something that happened prior. Do you want me to go into that first?
I'll I'll say that too. That's part of the whole like saying what I did wrong too as well. So I'll go into that too. But like Tony said, he didn't trust me, and as far as I was concerned, me and Tony had got along great because we just had a match once prior, and even though me and him had ups and downs, we were fine. I thought so. To say that, it was to me, it was kind of weird. And then the rumor was that Dan Yorkdahl, former owner of LCW, was the new guy behind it all. He was going to come back and make a big return, which wasn't true. We just went on the ring to train, which then turned into I went to the ring for my shows and my company. When I say mine's myself and Mike Barrington. We're currently working on our new company. We'll go on to that.
Big after. Game Mike. I like him.
He's awesome. He's great dude. But so we try to get the ring, no dice. So I contact the owners. I say, listen, here's the deal. Can we get the ring and then work out a deal after? Because two of the owners don't live here. They're at the province. So the plan was for us to go get the ring, bring it, and take it, then pay them for it. And it came time to go and get it, and guess what? The ring can't find it. Nobody found. Can't find it. Rumor has it that I was trying to steal the ring, apparently, which is quite the task because it's a wrestling ring. So he was telling everyone that. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone, fans. He reached out to a promoter in the Maritimes who I work with very well to try and start a conversation to bury me and sort of take away work that I worked hard to get by saying things like, "Oh, at least you don't have people trying to acquire your property illegally and whatnot." So he really took what I was trying to do, took it personally, and really tried to fuck me over. Sorry, lack of a worst term, whatever. But there was that. So that was the whole ring thing there. The whole start of me of the heat of why I'm not here, right? Or why I'm not wrestling here. Sorry. Trying to think. Should I go back to the belt stuff first from last year?
Yeah. So essentially, what we're talking about right now is, to recap, is that you had made an offer to purchase a ring, and you're saying that Travis stole it before the purchase could be made, and he's trying to kind of take your stock down or take your talk crap about you so people don't give you work, sort of thing.
Right. Yeah.
And this is all in line with before I started working for NEW, I didn't know you or anything, and then you came back and there was tension there, and I was like, "Oh, he seems like a nice guy. I don't know what the fuck's going on," sort of thing. But apparently there was a whole issue where I guess you left the promotion on bad terms, and even when you came back, you made an apology in front of everyone, and even then, still people are they're weird some ways in that they don't forgive, which is I don't know what that is, but it's a thing. But anyways, go on.
Yeah. So this start off with I'll come back to the current stuff and go back to that. The whole start of the initial heat with me and the company. So when you
ended Psycho Mitch's career. That was what happened. Is that's why everyone turned on you.
I think so.
You buried that big ass redhead mother.
It's one of my favorite matches ever. But so when I won the belt first years ago, before I moved away, Travis was great. Me and him got along very well. He took care of me. So because I think I was a kind of a help in bringing people over from LCW. I think that gap between that company and I was a help in telling Dan that, guess what, we're going to work for this new show because I believe it's something good. So there was me and him had that bond since day one. So I believed in I believed in his whole vision since day one. So before I moved away, him and Sheldon, his partner, brought me out to the keg for a steak and stuff. We had a meeting, we made a deal was that when I would come back for shows, they'd pay half the flight. The other half I would cover back with selling things for the show. So every show I would sell more than enough to cover half the flight, and I would say, keep it. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Lost the belt, all good, but I still came back, and they still took care of me. Like, I was like, no one's given me an opportunity like they did. So this is why I worked so hard to maintain that and hold on to it. You know, and even some, like, many don't know, wrestling's hard sometimes, mentally, financially, and there was moments when Travis was there for me when I needed someone to rant to, cry to, or when I didn't have money in my account for food, he would send me money like that. Like, it wasn't a lot, but it was here or there. Here's, you know, $20, and he would always help me out. And on that's things I'll never be like, you know, that's things I'll ever always keep in my mind, because he's a great dude. We just don't see eye to eye right now. So kept coming in. Then it came time to win then it came time to get the belt back and, you know, have it again. So I said, Travis, it's all cool, but I don't want to have to pay anymore to come in and hold a belt, because this is when I was getting busy. I was doing shows in Quebec for NSPW. I was doing some shows, you know, everywhere else as well, like busy. So I didn't want to have to pay almost to hold a belt in my hometown. It was a big thing. I just didn't want to. I was cool with, like, not coming back.
You didn't want to lose money for something that you love.
Yeah, I didn't want to pay to be a champion, you know? So it was a big thing. I'm back and forth. I finally came to a deal where he said, okay, fine, no worries, we'll cover the flight. But I would still sell things for the show. I would still do that and give him money. So that was good. It was great. A few shows went on. It was great. No problems. Working great together. I was getting, like, interviews with CBC to put his shows over. I was doing promos wherever I could to get his show out there. So I was doing my part. At least I felt. And then my match with Mitch.
Psycho Mitch.
Psycho Mitch, my favorite. He's a man.
I love, just a side note, like, I'm friends with him on Facebook. I'm friends with Travis, and I'm friends with all these guys. And, like, right now we're in the middle of the NHL hockey playoffs, and, like, Travis and Brendan are going back and forth, and Mitch is just like, you guys are batshit crazy. Like, you guys talk way too much about hockey, and it makes my day every single time I see Mitch just call everyone out.
He's so good. And you know what? He was always good. Like, Mitch is always great with those comments. They're always like, I always laugh so much. Right? Like, he's so good.
And you know what? I feel like the main go-to in terms of trying to insult Mitch is that he loves Dragon Ball Z, so they talk ill about Dragon Ball Z or whatnot, and it's like, I don't know. Have you seen Dragon Ball Z? That shit's dope as hell. Like, I mean, let's maybe hold off on the Dragon Ball Z negativity here. Okay, that show is awesome.
Yeah. So to go back to it, this match with Mitch, we do the first ever Monsters Ball in the history of Newfoundland wrestling. We go out there and go crazy. We thumbtacks and everything. And then, you know, I get backstage and there's this vibe. I'm looking over at Travis. He looks nervous. I'm looking over at Sheldon. He looks determined. Like, something's going to happen. You know? Sheldon, we got to talk. Okay. Right.
Shoot, fight.
Yeah, right? So they haul me in one of the side offices at the Armory. And then Sheldon hands me, like, a piece of paper with like numbers on it. Like, money, like, you know, amounts. This is what you owe us for the last show. It's for this show. And I was like, he's like, so we're gonna take this much of your PO towards the flight, and here's your money. Open it. I'm like, so I owe you this much to hold this for you. Well, I just did all of that. You're paying me this. I'm still in debt to hold this. And I'm still picking thumbtacks out of my fucking back. I just came back 10 minutes prior from a main event match with Mitch, where we didn't talk yet. He was bleeding. I didn't get a chance. Like, I was fired up, man. And I was like, I'm getting changed. Like, what the fuck? I was like, okay, cool, no problem. And I said, this is probably my last show as you're main champ. Next show, I want to drop this belt to Scotty. I'm done. Whatever. No. I was like, no, I'm done. Whatever. Boom, boom. I go in. I get changed quick. I'm fucking pissed off. And everyone goes to Tony's house after the shows to watch the show and hang out. And, so I get there, and the vibe is pretty fucking strong now.
Bro, dude, I was there. I was at Don's house when the vibe was strong when you and Locke were jarring at each other. So I mean, I can only imagine what it'd be like during this. So,
but now this meeting between me, Travis, and Sheldon didn't happen in front of any of the boys. It was very like hush hush. So no one at the house knew what was going on except for me, Travis, Sheldon. So,
bro, come on, you can't say that no one knew. Fucking,
to my knowledge,
it's Newfoundland. Right. Everyone fucking talks shit. It's the way it is. Like I was there for 2 years. I know how this game is played.
Exactly. So they corner me in the kitchen. They say, "Hey man, let's talk." And I'm like, "No, I was talking. I was responding, but it wasn't getting anywhere. It was a tiptoeing around the fact and back to more or less they had the upper hand. And to me, I would just, admittedly, it was definitely a bit of my ego there showing. And I definitely could have handled that better in response. But again, hindsight's always 2020. I try to learn from those certain things that I've done in the past, like where I was hot-headed with ego. So I just said, look, next show, my last show. I told you earlier, I'm done. Is it? Thank you, done. I flew back to Halifax next morning. Couple days passed, and me and Travis text back and forth. It got a little heated, and that was when I said to him, like, keep your fucking belt. I don't know the exact words, but here's to be rude. Keep your fucking belt. I'm not coming back. Like, I had the whole text all there still. I can find it, but it's a long thing. So that was more or less the whole thing of it. And again, wrestling, the big no to not drop the belt and do good business. So, and I knew better.
Wait here, let's flip that. Okay, yes, I know that's a thing, but like when they're charging, they say that you owe money to them, and like there has to be a mutual
exactly
sort of thing. Like, I mean, yes. Infamously, there's a whole thing about Tessa Blanchard, who is the Impact Wrestling champion, and she refused to drop the belt. That is bad. Because she was in another country and it's a pandemic, and I'm not going to even comment on it, but like, in my opinion, what she did was, in this case, they're saying you owe us money and you got to come drop the belts. And then they're probably going to say that you owe more money to them, sort of thing. So it kind of seems like, why am I going to pay more money to lose a belt? So these things happen, but
it wasn't,
I feel like that's a nice way to kind of like, so that's the situation that happened there. You move on and you come back. All things are forgiven. There's still some tension there. You want to create a school so you can better the scene in wrestling, and you want to start a promotion because you want to give more places for the boys to work, which is, should be all more beneficial for, the wrestling scene in Newfoundland, which is already a very small scene.
Yes.
That all goes to shit. And now we're left here with you talking to me on this podcast, doing my first shoot interview. So how do you repair that relationship, or how do you stay in Newfoundland knowing that you can't work there? Like, is the goal to still push forward and try and get a school going, or is the idea to, cut your losses and go back to Halifax or maybe in Toronto and just like start fresh?
So, the goal was to always open up something here that gives future kids a chance to do this, like earlier, but do it right, So, right now the plan, is to open up my own company, myself and Mike Barrington. Right now, I actually met with him yesterday about venues and stuff, and we got some great stuff in the works. Talking about like talent that we're gonna have. There'll be some new faces here, like brand new faces that new faces with a style that Newfoundland's not really had a chance to see much of. Now, mind you, Travis has brought in some great guys, PJ Black and like Danny Warren and stuff, and great guys who can work. Josh Alexander, for example, like great guys. That's the talent that's the like level I want here. I want guys to push our guys to get better, because that's how I learned by leaving here and again tossed into the fire against the Marco Estrada, Stu Grayson's, Elgin. I go on and on. It's just I've been blessed to be able to be tossed into the fire, which is why I want to be able to bring that opportunity here, because I know, to leave home is a huge step. It took me years to actually do it. One of my biggest things is I wish I left sooner. So if I can bring that product here, sort of get their foot in the door, so when they leave here, they don't have to go through the steps that I did to get to certain spots. You know what I mean? So sort of the plan is to do that. So new company, me and Mike, we're hoping for we're shooting for November is our sort of date we have up in the air.
Oh, you shouldn't put a date. With all the things going on, they're gonna try and sabotage.
No,
pick it starts. No.
Well, Mike already put a little vague thing up in his status about November, so it's already out there, brother. It's already out in the dirt sheets, brother. And again, just to take a small little side over here, I'm not doing this to compete with what he's doing with Travis. So I'm not here to hurt his company or take him out. I will gladly create opportunities for his guys as well. It's not about I got him, take that. It's about my vision, Mike's whole vision. What we want to do here, what we can do here, what can be done here. It's not about I'm going to show him. It's not a pissing contest. It's a passion. It's something I feel for that I've been doing here half my life. Travis, seen in an interview, says he's been involved in this scene for 20 years. That's complete bullshit. I came around in 2006. I started wrestling in 2008. Okay. When I was a kid, 13, the only time I seen Travis was on the alumni page for Cutting Edge Wrestling as a manager named Chili with his bleach blonde hair, looking just like Kurt Cobain.
Is that why everyone calls him Chili? I always never.
Yeah. So
I never knew that he was a manager before. I just was wondering.
Yes. Sorry, Travis, but
at least I learned something today.
He's home now stewing. I can feel him stewing through my phone right now. Sorry, Travis. But anyways, so then that's when I was 13. I didn't see Travis again until 2012. Well, I didn't notice him until 2012 when he was front row at a LCW show at Club One. When him and Buck would go home and do interview, what's it called? Reviews on the shows. And then again, I didn't see him till 2015 when he bought a ring off Steve Clark. So how is that 20 years? How are you involved with 20 years?
Dylan, he was a fan before he got involved. Okay, that counts.
Okay.
I don't,
Okay.
Me personally, I've been involved with wrestling since I was 5. So, I got 32 years experience.
It's I'm not trying to be I'm not gonna dig too much.
Oh, we're just busting Travis's balls right now.
Right.
I'm gonna get such a long fucking Facebook message from him.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna spend too much time. I'm not gonna dig in and dig at him way too much. It's just the guy spent the last number of months tossing my name in the dirt, and I've sat back and I've chat back here and there, but for the most part, I've been pretty quiet. He's reached out to fans privately and offered to call them to explain why I'm not there. He's told people I'm trying to steal the ring. He's trying to hurt my work. At what point do I not chime back and say, fuck off? You know what I mean? Going back to the whole thing with the ring, I simply sent him a message on Facebook. Hey, can you please call me about this ring? I want to get back for Dan and Chris. An hour later, I'm going to call from RNC because I'm harassing. Apparently, I was harassing him, and I can't call him anymore about this ring. This is shit that I'm. You know what I mean? Again, at what point do I just I was sitting home and I was like, yeah, I really don't have to do this, or I shouldn't mention it or put any effort into this. But I'm just here to show that I don't have any anger or hate towards him. I'm just man, just move on.
You know,
You know what I
okay,
mean? Like,
let's move on from this part and let's move on and create more heat. What do you think the current Newfoundland wrestling scene is lacking in terms of effort from the other wrestlers? Just bury everyone.
so you mean like as a whole?
Well, I mean, like, because like I was there for 2 years and like I have my opinions on it. Despite the fact that I really enjoy myself there. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on the scene right now? Because like they do sell out. They sell out every single show, and there are always hot crowds there, which I love. But there does seem to be kind of like some sort of lack of, I don't know, passion, I want to say, maybe between some of the wrestlers.
Yeah. You know, I haven't spent a lot of time around the guys recently, so I don't know where their minds are. You know, it's me.
And I just got myself never booked again, FYI, by saying that.
Join the club. We'll put on a t-shirt. You know, so I'm not gonna like. I don't want to like. I love all the guys here. Like, you know, even the guys I don't really know, because they're doing something that I respect. They're, you know, they're chasing a passion with very little resources, you know. But like one of the things here that's lacking, and it's been lacking for years, is bottom line's effort. You know, it's the to.
I think it's a mix of effort and leadership. They don't have anyone to like kind of like steer the reins.
There's no locker room leader. It's a free for all. It's a goddamn circus. It's a goddamn circus.
And we could have Buck come on the show and talk about how he's the locker room leader.
It's a goddamn
and
circus.
Now if that happens,
the goddamn circus. You know, I've it's complete chaos. Like I go to shows like, for example, my favorite Smash Wrestling is the most organized wrestling.
Sebastian's, yeah.
He's amazing. It's the most organized ever. It's like everything is just like boom, boom, boom. Come here. I'm like, what is going on? You know? So like effort is a big thing that's lacking here. Passion you mentioned too. The guys here got the passion. It's just, you know, what perspective do you believe in your passion? Like how far are you going to chase that until you're satisfied? Because the part of me and why I don't stop, I'm always going on, is because I'm not like, I want more. I'm not, I want more out of what I'm doing, which is right now I'm not doing much. But, you know, passion, effort, guys here don't give a shit. They don't, you know, they say brother, 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 but they only say brother, 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 because other guys who came in said brother, brother, brother. You know, in my experience.
What you talking about, brother?
brother. You know, in my experience, this place is cutthroat, and it's not because there's big money at play. It's because people get jealous and butthurt when you don't get what they want. When they don't get a belt or they don't get the match they want. It's very much a no pecking order circus of complete utter chaos at times.
So I will elaborate on your chaos a little bit, because like when I was wrestling there, I was the mainlander, I was cutting promos, I was getting the boos because people fucking hated me, and I made the wrong decision to speak up and say like I think I'm one of the most over heels, and then they turned me a babyface for some fucking reason. Right. And I do believe in my heart of hearts, I do believe that it was just a way to say fuck you. You're not shit, so we're gonna just take the entire character you've been working towards and like flip it, and then it didn't work, and then it's like, you know, fucking, it just all goes to shit.
So it's like, again, I'm not trying to like shit on the guys here, because again,
this is my own shoot podcast now. God damn it, this is a shoot. Fuck.
Now we're all shooting, right? But again, pew, I don't mean to very good. Pew pew pew.
All right, so let's stop talking about negatively and everything like that. Let's move it on to a more positive thing.
Mad about it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop. I'm just gonna cut it right there. So you mentioned Smash Wrestling, which is run by Sebastian Suave. I know you're friends with Channing Decker, who runs Greektown Wrestling. What are some of the lessons that you've learned from those guys in terms of running a promotion, and what are some of the lessons that you want to learn that you've learned from them that you want to take into your own sort of venture?
Sebastian Schwab first. The man is organized. And he's always business, and that's one thing I admire the most. Same thing with Channing, But I was able to drive with Sebastian to Quebec for a show a number of years ago, and the whole time we just talked shop and this and that and the other thing. And he's just like smart dude, and he's so willing to help. You know what I mean? So like for him, it's I took like I'll be organized, always like working and always trying to find the next big thing that can be something. He's a down to earth guy too. He's good at what he does, but he's so down to earth and willing to offer anything he can to help. And that's one thing that I find very rare in wrestling is guys who are at a certain level who are still willing to like help the guys who weigh, Decker, he's, same sort of thing, but a complete madman. Decker's crazy, and that's in the best way. Like he's got a crazy, passionate mind for the business, and it's like I think that's the one thing they both have in the comment is that crazy, intense passion that like a lot of guys don't understand why the mind works the way it does. But me, I'm like, okay, I understand. So I can't specify the one thing I learned from them, but it's just, I guess, organized, focused, and don't let things on the outside ruin what you're doing on the inside.
Mm. And now I mentioned Seb and I mentioned Chan because I know those guys. I've met them before, acquaintances at best in terms of my relationship with them. But what are some other guys that you've met, either promoters or wrestlers that you've learned from?
Definitely Marco Estrada. He was a guy that I was lucky enough to work with a number of times, and by far, I believe the best wrestler, if not one of the best in Quebec. His style to me, I first seen him in 2017 at a show, and his style to me was intense, crazy. And I said, I'll never be able to work his style. He would kill me. A year later, me and him in the main event in Rimouski, Quebec. And I did it. And like that from him, I learned that pace of wrestling, that fast pace that I would use going for years down the road. So with him, I learned how to be like in wrestling shape and to be ready and to be fast in that ring and maybe like and take a sweet boot in the head pretty hard too. I work with who else? Elgin. That was a complete humbling experience altogether. Let me tell you. So the match, early in, I get like almost like knocked out, and I forgot everything anyways, and then I've got even more. So most of it you can see is me getting I watch it back, and there's a minute and a half that I don't remember even doing, and I'm like, whoa. So I got back, and he told me and stuff, and it was a match that I wasn't ready for mentally because it was like my first intro to like that style, and Elgin's style is Elgin style, so which is great. I love it. It was again, those are guys I want to work. The guys with that style that scares the shit out of me that I learned from. Right, so with him, it was learn how to just use this more and not not be a complete idiot.
It's funny when you mentioned like afraid to work that style because like I moved back to London last August, and one of the reasons was because I wanted to train with Tyson Duke Satisfactory, and then we were doing well, and I was losing weight, and I was feeling good, and I was like, man, I kind of had a goal, and my goal was to work Josh Alexander at a show, and I told Tyson this, and he's like, oh, you're going to die.
But
and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to die, but at least it'll be like something I can say that I was in the ring with, but like the idea is like, I don't just want to be in the ring with him. I want to be in the ring with him and perform well. I mean, like,
of course.
I know my limitations. I can right now, no wrestling. But if I trained everything, I'm not even That's stupid talk. Anyways, let's move on from my stupidity and talk. We got two more questions for you because we're wrapping up soon. Our good friend Bulldog Brendan Hines, my former tag team partner, one half of the Main Dogs. He wanted me to ask you why you think he is your favorite wrestler. Yeah, no, he's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. You can tell. What?
He's the wrestles?
Occasionally. I know he doesn't wrestle his wife. I know he doesn't wrestle his wife that often. So, I mean, his experience is limited.
He's not my favorite wrestler at all. He's my favorite wrestler to shit on, but no one's gonna call him my favorite wrestler ever.
What's your favorite? Why do you like shitting on Brendan so much? Is it because
it's just been our friendship? Like since day one, really. I feel like he came along in LCW back in the day. He was Brandon Flip, and at first we were both quiet. He was quiet. We didn't get along, and I don't know. I think it was just we just started the insults. It means love. A lot of guys don't take it the right way, and me and him would just like we'd be on a road and it'd be like simple as, "Hey man, fuck you." Or at one point we were Grand Falls, we had a towel fight. Me and him were shoot fight for fun on the floor in front of everyone. And I think it was in front of like Ted DiBiase and stuff. And I was throwing water at him and stuff too from across the locker room. Yeah, it was stories. Me and him, we have endless stories. Like he's one of the guys I have a close friendship with, even through all this wrestling nonsense. Wrestling will never affect me and my friends, and when it doesn't affect how people see me and talk to me, it really means a lot because I know how easy it is to believe certain things you want to hear, and how to see people for who they were years ago. But it's cool when people see you and see you're able to like look past shit that you did wrong and still be your friend. So for him, like me and him, we don't talk as much, and I'll give him shit online here and there. I'll tell him fuck off, but it's all out of love. I think at times he doesn't know that, and which is why I get scared. Which is like part of the whole of this doing this now. Like I feel like the whole negative picture that I've been sort of painted is sort of drawing people away from me. But I'm not a bad dude. I have a passion for wrestling, not for wrestling bullshit. So
yeah, that was never my strong. I was never like I had a cup of coffee in wrestling. Yeah. And the whole idea of like talking and like you gotta pay respect where respect is due, but the amount of people that think that they should be paid respect is a long list of people in professional wrestling. And when I moved to Newfoundland, Brendan, I reached out to Rip Impact and I was like, "Hey, do you know anyone that I could talk to about wrestling in Newfoundland?" Brendan was the guy. Brendan lived in Bay Roads. He's one of my dudes. And I will always cherish his help that he did for me in terms of wrestling in Newfoundland. So we'll wrap this up. We've buried a lot of people. So I'm going to give you a chance now to bury yourself and tell me a story of the worst experience you've had in a wrestling ring and why.
Okay. Shit, this is going to be a good one.
Because everyone is shit at the beginning. So bury yourself right now. That way we end on a high note on this podcast.
I may remember more after this, but I have two actually. So this was the same show I met Sailor White actually, so it's kind of funny. I was a ref, and Don Martini wrestled Loco, and Loco got the upper hand and won. So Don was mad. So ref bump at the end. His finisher was the Dirty Spoon, also known as the Stars Clash. So he picks me up, hooks my arms. One arm wasn't hooked, so I look over towards it like this. As I'm looking like this way, he drops down. I come down my head. Boom! But they thought I was dead. I was fine. I went back, and that was it. But there's that story. Okay. And then, have you heard the story about the geese yet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I have three. Then I'll be fast. Okay, next story. We're in Harbor Breton for LCW 2013, maybe. I'm probably wrong. I'm wrestling Six in Phoenix. So before the match, he's in the back having a nap. The venue always gives us a meat tray and stuff, and so I found a little gherkin or something, and I rubbed it on his lips. You know, what the fuck? So we're in the match. Hands me a camel clutch spot. The spot where you jump down on back once, twice, but the third time turn over on the nuts, boom. You know. So 1, 2, on the second time, as he's going to hop in the air, he takes out a gherkin out of his boot and jams it in my mouth. Boom. Goes for the spot, which is going into my hot comeback.
All right, so what is a gherkin?
A pickle, a small pickle.
Okay.
So,
pickle for me.
So I'm getting ready to do my hot comeback, and I'm thinking, okay, if I spit this out, it's going to look completely stupid. So I had to eat it. So here I am, getting up, hitting the rope, back and forth, eating this pickle the whole time. Boom. And that was it. The musty pickle. And this one was this is a one that was me and Brandon there, but a few of us, we did a tour of Labrador a number of years ago at LCW, and we got stuck because of the ice, because the ferry didn't go across. So 7 of us got stuck, I think, over there in Blanc-Sablon, Quebec, and at this creepy ass hotel. So we walk up there, and there's this like duck pond behind there, and then Wheels goes, imagine, and it was like geese stared ducks, and Wheels goes, imagine if those geese just turned and started looking at us. With that, they both turned.
That does sound like a Matt Wheeler type of thing to say.
Yeah, yeah. And then I think 4 of us piled into a phone booth, and then the rest of us just like ran for the hotel.
All right, so Matt Wheeler is one of my favorite guys in Newfoundland, and he's getting juicy. I like how he's put on that size, man.
He's fired up, man.
Yeah, he says, imagine if those geese turn around and chased us, and they start chasing you, and you guys end up in a phone booth, a la the movie Birds. Why does that not surprise me? That would be something that happens in professional wrestling. What does that not surprise me? That you would say something that happens, and then you're stuck, 4 of you in a phone booth. Cheek to cheek, tip to tip, as geese attack you. God, I think that's a perfect way to end it. Dylan, man, I love you. I think your passion for wrestling has been paramount in this podcast. I cannot wait to get all the angry messages from Travis or anyone else from the Newfoundland scene, because I know that's going to happen, or they're not. It's going to be very passive aggressive, but
maybe. We'll see.
Let's end it on a bit of a high note. I know things are kind of opening up soon. Do you have any upcoming dates? Do you have any booked shows that you want to talk about? Or
as of right now, North Pro Wrestling has their current date set for November 14th. So there's that. I did have ECPW in Cape Breton. They had a show set for June 19th. So that one, I believe, it will be postponed until probably July. So right now, I'm just taking it easy, just at the gym. I got some stuff in the works for later on in the summertime, but for right now, tight-lipped until that thing is confirmed, because you know how wrestling works. So yeah, I'm just trying.
So you say you have things on the go. Where can people find you on social media if they want to find out what these things are down the road?
Okay, so Instagram is Buddy Wrestles, and also same thing on Twitter. But I need more followers on Twitter. So if you could just people go to Twitter, Buddy Wrestles, follow me and say something funny. I'll laugh, I'll respond, and that's how we'll grow together.
Yeah, you're not gonna get followers from this podcast. It's very new. There's no fan following right now, but
if I get two, that's a win for me today.
Well, I think we've all won in this conversation today. Moondog, Dylan Davis, thanks so much for being on the podcast, and I will talk to you down the road.
Take care. Sorry, Travis, love you.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation with Dylan Davis. Again, legit, real cool dude, great wrestler too. One of the few guys that I've met in the business of professional wrestling where you can just tell he's a guy that takes it very seriously and loves doing it at the same time. You can find him on Instagram at Buddy Wrestles, Twitter at Buddy Wrestles. Booking inquiries if you want to get him on your podcast or if you want to book him for a wrestling show. I don't know how many booking wrestling pros are listening to this thing, but buddywrestles@gmail.com as well. So stay tuned next week. I know this one was a little bit late coming out, but vacations in Canada, so I'm going to take advantage of that sort of thing. So take care, and until next time, I'll see you guys down the road. Cheers.